Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to Front Up. I am sitting in for Dan Drake. I haven't sat in on Front Up for a while as a guest host. Gino's changed the whole studio. It's much more professional now. And I have a guest. My first guest is Wendy Hudson from Bookworks. And it's not just Bookworks that you're involved in. It's what
Bookworks
else?
and Mitchell's, Nantucket
Bookworks,
Book Partners
Mitchell's.
is sort of the...
And if you sign up for the email, you get a nice email from you, like once a week or so, about, what's it called, shelf something?
Oh, there's shelf awareness.
Shelf awareness. So let's talk a little bit about Bookworks specifically. Very local business. You have great stuff in there. It's my go-to place for cards. We were just talking about cards and things. But you're going to be doing a redo.
Yeah, so Bookworks, I started working there in '95, and I first started hanging out there probably when I was working at Bartlett's, and I just go downtown, and I love Bookworks. So I'm coming from a very emotionally connected place to that whole store. The reality is, as people know, the book business is evolving and changing. So this, on the one side, it's time to sort of tweak the model just a bit, maybe, you know, play around with that because we're on sort of a steady thing that I don't want to see continue. On the other hand, the building is rotting in the same and out of, you know, love for it, I haven't wanted to change it.
Yeah.
And we had two really big trees that are at the end. Well, one of them's already gone and the other one's at the end of its life. So I couldn't do renovations while those trees were there because the root system would have been compromised. But now those are gone, and it's time to deal. So
what's going to exactly happen? Will the building be removed?
The building is really, really seriously rotten.
Yeah.
So
you couldn't really shore it up.
Couldn't shore it up. The hope is to put, the plan is to put a second story upstairs. Just fixing the building, the costs are so prohibitive, we wouldn't be able to keep it as Bookworks because we enjoy a sort of lesser rent for a community-based business. So we need to kind of go with the times, have a higher end use for the space upstairs. So it kind of became a three-part thing, actually. Originally, the apartment upstairs was the vision, keep Bookworks downstairs. It looks like I'll be able to put a basement apartment in too, which I'm really excited about because that's hopefully kind of a year-round use for islanders, you know.
So there's an apartment upstairs now?
No, right now there's nothing.
Oh,
it's the big empty, it's the triangle that's above Bookworks, it's just empty. And
okay. So that will be an apartment on the second floor?
It's going to have a whole second story sort of inserted in that. I do have a picture here. I don't know if it's easy to show it or not, but so what we're seeing is that, So
it looks a little bit Athenaeum-like.
I know. I mean, it fits in with town. This is a stairway at the back, so it's a little deceptive. Okay. But basically, this is exactly the same with the funky windows. The same triangle, actually, with the window, which I think looks nice.
That's nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So it's definitely an evolution of that building, which you know has been the same for a long time.
So the end result will be there will be an apartment upstairs that will be rented.
That will be rented.
Somebody.
Yep.
And for living. And then downstairs.
Well, for more of like a summer turnover kind of rental.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be
just to try to maximize the value.
Rental.
Yeah, right. I want to make it like the book suite too, so people know that they're kind of being part of this whole bookstore, you know.
Yeah, that would be really neat. And then downstairs will it look the same? Are you going to try to go for the same kind of?
Yeah, within the store, I love the feel when you walk into Bookworks, and the whole we'll definitely keep all the exact same shelving, even though they're kind of crummy pine from the '70s. Doesn't matter, I love it. So we're going to put that out, in a container for the winter, put it back in. Same setup, maybe a few more sidelines because that's kind of where the growth is in the store. But then the back part, rather than winding around quite the same way it does, we're playing around with different ideas to evolve. Well, move the bathroom back, and so maybe a little more open space.
Nice.
Suzanne and I are working on a really cool fairy tree vision using the wood from the tree that we took down outside. It's still parked in my driveway, so we're trying to put together a really cool tree with like fairies and stuffed animals. And
so it's going to be our old friend Bookworks is not going away. It's just going to get a facelift kind of a thing and
that is absolutely
updated, but our same stuff will be there, and we'll be very happy about it. Now, the renovation itself, when will it start?
I'm hoping for as late in December as possible.
Okay.
The goal, in talking to people, they said start in October because you need all those days for downtown. And I get that. But then I was like, oh, but Christmas at Bookworks is so special in the community. I feel like that's when we have a lot of support. And I found a contractor that said, absolutely, I can get this done for you. We can reopen in June. Maybe not Memorial Day, but so I was willing to give more of June up than December, I guess, is kind of the deal.
You're going to have to be closed for a period of time.
We will be totally closed.
We're going to be Bookworks.
Well, the other thing about that is it's nice because we have Mitchell's right now that we can kind of roll some staff over there, and Mitchell's will be way more Bookworksy this winter.
Yes.
So it's kind of a fun experiment to see, can we get people to come to Main Street a little bit more?
Which is
I will say that in the winter, Bookworks has a lot more support than Mitchell's in the winter time. So, and Main Street is too quiet, I
know.
So we'll hope to keep it open a little bit later, get some more events, gatherings and things.
There's going to be a confluence of building projects going on in your area there. And I think you probably know, I think people from our office and DPW are trying to contact everybody to make sure we know who's doing what and when.
Right. It's a great idea to coordinate.
So it won't be a terrible mess. It is going to be messy. There's no question about it.
Again, like last year.
Projects are messy, but we'll do our best to minimize disruption. And so you guys are on board with that. That's great. Buying books at a bookstore is becoming, what do we call it? It is evolving into something else a little bit.
It is a distressing trend in our culture, I think, that, screen time is stealing away from people's reading time. And I own every device on the planet. I am guilty of being completely a tech.
Do you read books online?
I've tried. I have to say I don't. We dabble sometimes in selling e-readers and stuff. We sell Kobos, which is what Borders was selling, so they have a strong tie to independence. But it's just not the same, and my staff doesn't really get on board. Yeah, I don't.
I'm a book
I don't
person.
find I absorb the material the same way or enjoy it. So, I think everything we can do to, and it really does all come back to kids. So I didn't quite say this, but I picture the renovations as being even more kid-friendly and even more family-friendly to hook readers early because, you get kids that are into reading and it enriches their life. And
absolutely. Nothing to read. Nothing to love reading. So
together.
You've had to evolve a bit with the e-book whole trend.
Oh, definitely. There's no question but the thing I try to say to people is that's fine. Like most people own Kindles, they own everything, but it's a continuum. And if you remember to support your bookstore and come in and maybe buy something else, or sometimes a physical book is a wonderful gift.
Yes, it is.
And I feel that buying e-books is not the most incredible investment. It kind of lands there and sort of who cares about buying the digital content?
Through it. Yeah. Plus, there's the whole trend of getting your book overnight from somewhere like Amazon.
Yeah, and if they add drones into the mix, we're going to be in real trouble.
Obviously, there's a convenience factor for going online and getting the book you want right then and there almost. But it's not the same as going to social situation in the bookstore.
And that's why we want to just work to make sure that experience is part of the, is part of the whole picture.
Absolutely.
And it's the interaction that you have with, either a really knowledgeable, fun staff or just the feeling of being able to go someplace downtown.
So people, when they're looking for books, should really just think a little bit about, if they live on Nantucket or wherever, the community aspect of buying local. And
it's very important. It cannot be overstressed. And the
really
money that stays on the island and supports your neighbors, it's just,
the whole community.
I don't ever want to sound that way, but it's really, really important.
Yeah, I don't want to sound sappy, but the community fabric really does change when everybody's doing everything online and you don't get out. And,
Yeah, all these trends in the country and on the island, it has a direct correlation to that.
Let's talk about the book festival. That is in the summer.
Yep.
And tell us just about how it came about, what's involved. What do people get out of it?
Well, the thing I love about Book Festival that we try to do is make it as wide-ranging and as free as possible. So we try to bring really cool authors to the island that appeal to a wide range of people. Hopefully,
you had some really good ones this past summer.
Well, it kind of I saw on the board of the chamber and et cetera, and we see how successful these festivals are, bringing people to the island and like focusing on a thing. And I was like, okay, well, hey, we got all these other cool things. We need a book fest too. I mean, let's just step that up. Now, of course, are we getting festivaled out? I don't know, maybe, but no, because books have to be there. Right, like books gotta stay. So, yeah, it's been great because over the years, I've been a bookseller for something like 18 or 19 years already, and I get great exposure through our national trade association. I go to Book Expo in New York and whatever, and I have met so many authors, have so many connections now. I'm like, well, this is easy, pick up the phone and get some good people, and that's not, and I shouldn't even say just me, because this island is so full of hyper connected people, and generous people. Yeah. So it was pretty, I won't say easy, and then keeping it going is hard because the initial energy is easier to run with.
Right.
So creating something that's a little more sustainable with a key group of people, has its own challenges. So you get the enticing authors, and you have a little bit of a different thing every year that draws people into, sort of. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't gone the route of having like a topic or a certain focus each year. It's been really more to try to have, just like I said, the range that will appeal to more people. And I hope we get more kid events and maybe foreign language things.
Talks with the authors, or they give the little, like Jodi Picoult.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get to that, but I heard it was great. And
yeah, it was.
Who doesn't want to listen to her?
I know. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it just, the whole idea is to celebrate books and remind people about reading, and
absolutely,
and put that back in the forefront of people's minds.
Pick up a book and read it. Better yet, go to Bookworks or Mitchell's and get a book.
There you go.
There's a lot of selection in it, and if one doesn't have it, probably the other does, and if neither does, they can order it for you, and it's here very quickly. I guess that will wrap up our talk with Wendy Hudson. Thank you very much
Libby.
for coming
in. This was fun.
And we'll see you around town. Good luck with the renovation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.